All right, good afternoon. Welcome to Ask The SCSA Thursday webinar. My name is Justin Brooks, Safety Advisor for the SCSA, and I'll be acting as the moderator for today's webinar. I just want to take a few minutes to discuss some items before we get going. This webinar is being recorded and will be available for later viewing on Facebook and our YouTube channel. So if you're not following our social media accounts, make sure that after this webinar, give the video a like and a share, and follow our pages to keep up to date on safety in Saskatchewan. So today we have another installment of the Ask The SCSA Game Show Edition plan. Before we get into the game though, I'd like to give our contestants a moment to introduce themselves. So gentlemen, go ahead.
Well, welcome and thanks for having us, Justin. My name is Collin Pullar. I'm the president of the Saskatchewan Construction Safety Association, and as you already know, a lot of our team are advisors, auditors, folks who provide a range of services, and so we do that throughout the province, primarily based out of Regina and Saskatoon, and I'm really happy to have a colleague with me here, Warren Douglas, and perhaps Warren, if you could introduce yourself and your organization.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for having me on board here. Warren Douglas, I'm with the Construction Labor Relations Association. We're a contractor organization whose primary purpose is to do labor relations on behalf of the contractors with our building trade partners. With that, we also have a joint venture called the Construction Opportunities Development Council, of which I'm a co-chair, and Dion Malakoff from the Saskatchewan Building Trades Council is the other co-chair. And through the CODC, we do industry promotion as well as safety training and other forms of leadership training and the like. And it's through the CODC that we partner with the SCSA on delivering a variety of training programs. And so appreciate the support of the SCSA and happy to be here.
Fantastic. Well, you already know the rules, so I think we should probably just get going here. Let me just share my screen and get this all set up. All right. So welcome to Geo-Party. It's very similar to the game we all think this is going to look like, but for copyright reasons, we're not calling it that. So you know the rules. You choose your category. There are a few categories here for you to choose from. They're all safety-based categories. You choose the money that, the 100 through 400 that you want, just like the game show we all know and love. And take your best guess. It's all multiple choice. There are really no rules. It's just try and guess the right answer. Like I said, you want to phone a friend, you want to look it up in the regulations, by all means, go ahead. So in the spirit of having a guest, Warren, would you like to go first?
All right, well, let's see. Let's start with Little Engine That Could for 200.
All right, Little Engine That Could for 200. What day of the week is the SCSA offering the online instructor-led fall protection course? Is it A, Monday, B, Tuesday, C, Wednesday, D, Thursday?
That's a great question. I'm sure it's probably on the SCSA's website, but in the interest of not burning the entire hour watching me mouth breathe and try to figure out and mutter to myself, I'm going to choose C, Wednesday, out of the random guess.
C is correct. All right. Warren, you are up on the board with 200 points. Or dollars or whatever. If it doesn't work.
Is this real money that we're working with?
You know what? I'll have to bring that up with my boss. Oh wait, that's you, Colin. Yeah, no, definitely not real money. It's all bragging rights, and the computer will generate the totals at the end. So we'll see who the winner is at the end.
Okay, Justin. Well, I'll start off with who's the boss for 300.
All right, who's the boss for 300? When are you a supervisor according to legislation?
Oh man, when
Is
are
it
you?
A, when management promotes you and gives you a title and a raise? B, when you oversee and direct the work of others? C, when you are bossy? Or D, once you hit 10 years in a company?
I would have normally said C, when you're bossy on a normal day, but I'm going to go with B, when you oversee and direct the work of others.
All right, let's see. B, when you oversee and direct the work of others. If you look in the preliminary matters in 2DDD, supervisor means a person who is authorized by an employer to oversee or direct the work of others. So great job, Colin. Colin puts 300 on the board. All right. Warren.
All right, let's go for not falling for excuses for 100.
Not falling for excuses for 100. It is at this height you must tie off. Is it A, 3 meters, B, 8 feet, C, 3 parsecs, or D, 3 stories?
Well, that's a good question. I think I actually know this one, and I think it is A, 3 meters.
A, 3 meters. All right, let's see what it comes up. You are correct. It is A, 3 meters. According to regulation 116.2A, where a worker may fall 3 meters or more is where you are required.
I would have gone with parsecs, but that's just me.
That's just the physicist in you, hey, Colin? Yeah. All right, another $100 up on the board. Colin.
Great. Let me try. There is never TMI for PME for 100, Justin.
All right, you got it. When is it permissible to not be tied off when using an aerial lift during construction? Is it A, below 10 feet, B, when holding onto the rails, C, when stationary and ascending, descending only, or D, it is never permissible?
This is a good one. I typically don't go work with aerial work platforms, but I'm going to say D, it's not permissible.
All right, let's see. You are correct. D, it is never permissible. You always want to be tied off whenever in a lift. Very common where people say, well, there's guardrails and, there's already some legislation stating that, I'm protected if I have guardrails, but this isn't the case. In power mobile equipment, you must be tied off at all times. Great work. So 100. All right. Warren.
I'll go for task force safety for 300, please.
For 300. All right. A contractor shall establish a committee at a construction site at which blank or more workers or self-employed persons work or are likely to work for more than 90 days. Is it A, 5, B, 8, C, 10, or D, 12?
Oh, that's a good question.
It's the establishment of a committee.
Establishment of a committee. Well, I'm just going to check the SCSA app to see if there is something with respect to safety committees. I'll have to use a search.
Absolutely. I said there was no rules, so absolutely. Feel free to check out the SCSA app.
Do you want me to call somebody for you, Warren, or are you?
Oh, no, I got a good summary. Just employer's duties, inspect, establish consultation committee. That's an investigation.
Maybe I can get an advisor on the phone for you.
Okay, yeah, maybe you should. Let's see. I'm just still scrolling, but my bifocals are getting fuzzy. So here we go. Safety committee, investigate. Oh, okay. Legislation. Oh. Well, you've got all the data here on the all the legislation, resources, the summary. but I'm not actually seeing a quick number that I can pull out. So I'm going to say, if my memory serves correctly, I'm going to say C for 10.
All right. C, 10 or more. You are
Better lucky than good. Better lucky than good.
Except, I'd say it's first when it comes to safety, it's better to be good rather than lucky.
Absolutely. That's fantastic.
All right. Well, Justin, I'll do the little engine that could for 300.
You got it. All right. So, an employer shall ensure that a worker, A, begins work at a place of employment, B, is moved from one work activity or work site to another that differs with respect to hazards, facilities, or procedures, C, before first pay period, cutoff date, or D, A and B.
Well, part of the question got cut off here in the thing, but I think I caught part of it on my screen, but I'm going to go with A, begins work at the place of employment.
All right, let's see what comes up here. So it is D, A, and B. You were partly correct. So under 19.1, an employer shall ensure that a worker is trained in all matters that are necessary to protect the health and safety of a worker when the worker begins work at a place of employment or is moved from one work activity or work site to another that differs with respect to hazards, facilities, or procedures.
Ooh, snap. So this thing about the chicken wings dinner, now we're not really sure who's going to pay at the end of this, but we know we're going for wings. We just don't know who's going to pay yet. So that's the.
All right, so that question is gone. You guys have been on a roll lately. So right now we have Warren with 600 points on the board and Colin with 400. So what's up?
Okay. I'm going to go back to task force safety for 200, please.
All right. It is the every day of the week double, gentlemen. All right. So, Colin, you have 400 points. Warren, you have 600. So when the question comes up, I want you guys, now do you have a notepad or anything available near you?
Good now.
I do.
Perfect. So what will happen is I will bring up the question. You'll have until the music stops, and then you'll have your wager of how much you want to wager for your question and your answer there. And you'll just hold it up to the screen when I call your names, and we'll see what we come up with. So we're both ready?
Ready.
You bet.
All right. The current version of the Occupational Act and Regulations was published in 1996. In what year was the previous version published? All right, gentlemen, that's 30 seconds. So Colin, your answer and wager. Is that 19, what is that?
83.
83. And your wager was how much?
200.
200, okay. And Warren.
Another wild guess, 1978 and 200 bucks.
200. I regret to inform both of you gentlemen, the last date was 1993. So Warren, you are now at 400 points. Colin, you are at 200. Great guesses, though, guys. You're real close.
That hurt. That it's like deep in my soul. That hurt.
But now you know, right? Now we know. So, all right. You know what? I can't remember who.
That was Warren.
Host.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Warren, that's
So
right.
over to
Yes.
Colin now.
So okay, well, we'll take not falling for excuses for 200.
All right, not falling for excuses for 200. How many classes of full body harnesses are available?
Okay.
Is it A, 2, B, 3, C, 4, or D, 5 classes of harness?
I want to say 4 classes, Justin.
Is that what you want to say, or that's what you're going to say?
That's what I'm going to say.
That's what we're going to say? Okay. The answer is D,
It was
5 classes. You were close. It was A, Class A fall arrest, D, suspension and controlled descent, E, limited access, L, ladder climbing, and P, work positioning. There's no simple acronym to remember it either.
Yeah.
Ad-lib.
I wonder if I could fit that into a song or something. And
yeah, something. Yeah, I'm sure it's one of those hand bones connected to the kind of songs you can make work. All right, Warren, you're on the board.
All right, well, we've been shy, but let's go for some big money here. Let's go for who's the boss for 400.
All right, big money. What is the main purpose of a supervisor-led toolbox meeting? Is it A, discuss employee safety concerns, B, discuss upcoming layoffs, that would be awkward, C, go over hazards found and their set controls on site, or D, A and C?
Well, given that 1978 kind of hurt me for a bit, I'm thinking that it is D. Discussing employee safety concerns, doing a HAZOP assessment, and going over the hazards that have been found and find mitigation strategy.
And you would be correct. Absolutely. This is one of the very important jobs of a supervisor on site. Between their inspections and leading the people on site, this is a big part of what they do. So absolutely, it's discuss employee safety concerns and go over hazards found and their set controls on site. So congratulations, catching up there. Now you're at 800 here, and Colin 200. So
oh man,
what are we gonna do about it?
I gotta catch up here. So let's start going big here. The little engine that could for 400.
All right, little engine that could for 400. When it comes to personal protective equipment, the general responsibility of an employer is to train their workers in A, strength, dexterity, and flexibility, B, value, color, and capability, C, use, care, and limitations, or D, how to get away with not wearing it.
Well, we're going to go with C, use, care, and its limitations.
All right, let's see what we come up with here. Absolutely correct.
All right.
If we move to the regulations, in 87.1E, it's to ensure that each worker is aware of the location of personal protective equipment and train in its use. In 87F is to inform the workers of reasons why the personal protective equipment is required to be used and of the limitations of its protection. And G, ensure that personal protective equipment provided to a worker suitable and adequate and a proper fit for that worker is maintained and kept in sanitary condition and is removed from the use of service when damaged. It's far too often we see on site people that are incorrectly wearing their personal protective equipment. I mean, I'm happy to see someone wearing a hard hat, but when the ratchet's in the middle of their forehead, it's not just that person's fault. And I've seen it in my life in construction, that exact situation that, that's a brand new person, young person to construction. They have no idea what's going on, and they see how all these cool guys have their hard hats on backwards. So they take their hard hat and they flip it around. They know nothing about that piece of equipment and how to actually successfully flip it around, or if they're even allowed to. So it's absolutely imperative that workers are trained in the use, care, and limitations of their personal protective equipment, not only for a moral obligation, but for a legal obligation as well. So
let's not overlook the value of a blue shirt.
Absolutely. Yep.
Right.
It's too bad we couldn't put you guys right on the background here and just be a couple of floating heads.
Yeah.
Fantastic. That's 400. We're catching up now. All right. Warren.
Okay. How about there is never TMI for PME for 100. If it's still there, I can't see it behind the video.
Oh.
No,
Really?
it's my, well, yeah. No,
Oh,
it's
I
just,
see. It's
yeah.
We have 200, 300, and 400 available.
Okay, well, let's do 200 then.
Let's do 200. All right. What is the appendix number in the regulations that outlines the requirements of trained operators for power mobile equipment? Is it A, Table 14.1, B, 14.2, C, 14.3, or D, Table 14.4?
Okay, well, in that case, I'm going to call a friend to check out
Sounds
this.
good.
And let's just see here. Because I'm not that strong on it.
Of course.
Hey, Warren.
Hey, Colin, do you know whether it's, whether it be table 14.1, 14.2, 14.3?
Yeah, I was searching my my SCSA mobile app here. I couldn't quite get to it, but my thought was 14.4, to be honest with you. But I didn't actually scroll down far enough to be able to see it. So.
Okay, great. No, thanks a lot. You've been very helpful.
I'm glad to help you out.
Thanks a lot. Okay, bye. Okay, let's go with 14.2, B.
Well, gentlemen, I hate to say it, but we were both wrong. Table 14.1 in the regulations. This is a really big go-to when it comes to power mobile equipment, because this table outlines for owners and employers what's required to train their employees in the use of power mobile equipment, so that they can actually train their employees on their own. And it also outlines a lot of the regulations that dictate how they're able to train them in power mobile equipment.
I found it. There it is, 14.1.
See, there
Minimum
we go.
Training
Perfect.
requirements.
And that's the point of this. Now we know, right? So now we know. All right. So there's never TMI for PME. $200 is now off the board. So I believe it's Colin now.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna go back to not falling for excuses for 300.
All right. Not falling for excuses, our fall protection category. Before you tie off, you need to ensure that the point used in a personal fall arrest system can support how many pounds of force? Is it A, 3,000 pounds, B, 3,000 kilograms, C, 5,000 pounds, or D, 5,000 kilograms?
If the question is in pounds, I believe it was 5,000 pounds.
Did you want to confirm with your app, or?
I'm searching here.
All right, no problem. Take your time. This is one of those questions that's you hear come up many times in our instructor-led online fall protection course. This is one of those ones that gets drilled into the students many times to make sure that they know this and many other things when it comes to fall protection.
Going back to Fall Pro, and I'm gonna make sure the safety nets. I am having trouble finding my.
When you're looking into the regulations,
Yeah.
you're going to be looking for it'll be under 116. I won't tell you where, but it'll be under regulation 116. And then it'll be decimal, and the number sounds like tree or free. One or the other.
Or like, well, I'm still thinking it's 5,000 pounds.
Fair enough. Do you want to go with 5,000
I'm gonna
pounds?
go put 5,000 pounds.
Let's go with 5,000 pounds. Survey says C, 5,000 pounds. You are correct.
Oh, and thanks, Mike, for confirming that for me.
You know, it's
I was like, I was sure. Yeah, here it is.
Regulation 116.34. An employer, contractor, owner, or supplier shall ensure that anchor points to which the personal fall rest system is attached have an ultimate load capacity of at least 22.2 kilonewtons, 5,000 pounds of force per worker attached in any direction in which the load may be applied. Great work. All right. So that puts Colin on the board at 900 and Warren right now at 800.
Okay. Let's even this up. Let's do the little
I can
engine.
smell those chicken wings.
That's a little engine that could for 100, please.
All right, 100. The SCSA has how many online awareness courses available? Is it A, 20 to 30, B, 30 to 40, C, 40 to 50, or D, 50 to 60?
Say online. .com. Nope, that. There we are. Let's go to scsaonline.ca. Courses. Online training. Oh, there's a 1, 2, 3. Holy smokes. There's a lot. So how many awareness training do we have? I'd say, judging just looking at some of these courses, I'm going to go with 50 to 60.
50 to 60. You would be absolutely correct, including our safety construction orientation training, so SCOT training. We have over 50 courses available on topics like construction health and safety, environmental safety courses, and professional development courses. These awareness courses are absolutely fantastic for workers on return to work programs, or during times like these where people are working from home. This is a great way to introduce some professional development into your workforce and keep people engaged and still thinking about safety. So these are an absolutely fantastic resource for people in really any occupation. So great work on that one. 100 brings you up to 900. We are even Steven right now on the board.
Oh boy. Okay.
Straight battle.
Well, let's go for who's the boss for 100 here.
All right, who's the boss for 100? When is it best to conduct a site inspection? Is it A, lunchtime, B, when work is being done, C, before work starts, or D, any time is good?
Well, I'm going to say the best time to do that is before the work actually starts. So C, before work starts, Justin.
All right. So this is a great lesson because it's B, when work is being done. Now, granted, site inspections are great. It's kind of one of those funny answers where anytime you can do one is a great time. However, the best time to do one is when work is actually being done, so that you can check for working conditions, hazards, or workers not following safe practices and procedures. However, the hazard assessment, which is very, very close in how they work, is what you want to do to assess the hazards before your work begins. So those inspections, when a supervisor is conducting those inspections, it's great. They do a series of informal inspections as well as formal inspections. Those informal inspections, as a supervisor, you're always switched on. As you're walking from one place to another, you're always looking at what people are doing. Now that formal inspection is where you actually pull out your documentation and start writing things down. So those are something that you would have in your manual stated as to what your frequency is, and you always want to make sure that those are happening while processes at work are happening.
Okay, very good.
Fantastic. Hey, and we know, and this is a very common thing that people actually, when they're brand new to learning safety, it's extremely common for people to mix up hazard assessment and inspections because they serve. They're very close in what they do. You're constantly searching for hazards. It's that time, when are we doing them? That's always that issue of when people have the misconception. So
Okay.
it's definitely a trick question, sort of. All right, a few questions left on the board. Warren.
Okay, let's try to pull ahead here. How about go for not falling for excuses for 400?
Oh, the big bucks.
Big bucks.
All right, so this is a long one. An employer or contractor shall ensure that a worker at a permanent work area is protected from falling by a guardrail or similar barrier. The worker may fall a vertical distance of more than, I'll leave this up for a second so we can just skim by it again. All right, so if they can fall a vertical distance from a permanent work area of more than, is it A, 1.1 meters, B, 1.2 meters, C, 1.3 meters, or D, 1.4 meters?
Oh, that is tricky. Well, I'm going to take a guess at this one. I honestly don't know, but I'm going to guess B, 1.2 meters.
Well, let's see. B, 1.2 meters, nailed it. In 116.3, the Occupational Health and Regulations, an employer or contractor shall ensure that a worker at a permanent work area is protected from falling by a guardrail or similar barrier if that worker may fall a vertical distance of more than 1.2 meters and less than 3 meters. So this is very common why when you're driving past the mall and you see the loading dock, why they have a permanent guardrail around that area, or going into, say, a building that has a staircase and they have a landing. If it's more than that 1.2 meters, it's regulated that they have to have that guardrail there. This goes for permanent installations where the building is completed, and as well as if it's just if it's going to be, say, a closed-in area, they have to have that guardrail up.
Good to know.
Absolutely. So that puts 400 on the board.
All right. Well, Justin, we're going to go with task force safety for 400.
Pulling out the big bucks. Hey, let's see. Keep it tied. When can special meetings be called by either co-chairpersons? Is it A, to deal with urgent concerns / imminent dangers to health and safety? B, investigations of accidents or dangerous occurrences? C, refusals to work pursuant to Section 23 of the Act? Or D, all of the above?
Justin, could you just repeat the question for me, please?
Yes, I can, sort of. Basically, when can either co-chairpersons call special meetings?
Okay. I'm going to go with D, all of the above.
All right. It is absolutely D. Under Regulation 44, special meetings concerning occupational health committees, either co-chairpersons may call a special meeting of a committee to deal with urgent concerns, imminent dangers to health and safety, investigations of accidents or dangerous occurrences, or refusals to work pursuant to Section 23 of the Act. So this is why it's so great to have those names posted and the minutes posted and everything, so that everybody knows who the chairpersons are. Because if there is urgent safety concerns, or someone, it's that classic everybody's in charge of everyone's safety mentality that's really important, where even if someone's doesn't have a lot of experience in construction, but they see something really dangerous, and if people around them aren't willing to do anything about it, those people, those chairpersons can kind of step in and start taking a look at what the issues are, especially when it comes to imminent dangers to health and safety. Especially even investigations of accidents. if something were to happen on a job site, they could call that special meeting and everybody can get together, start investigating that accident, and they have the legal right to do that. So fantastic. So that brings us to a tie. We're both at 1,300. Warren.
Okay, well, I'll go for, let's clear off who's the boss for 200, please.
All right. Who's the boss for 200? As a supervisor, who is the best worker to assign a job to? Usually I used to say anyone but me. So A, the first person to volunteer. B, Tony Danza. C, a worker that has training, knowledge, and experience. Or D, the worker that has been doing similar work for 10 years.
Warren, I think Tony Downs is probably the most appropriate in this case.
I agree, but you know, if you want it timely, right? I think his calendar's pretty full. So yeah, and I guess the question I'm just clarifying on A is the first person to volunteer or be voluntold? Like
that happens. Yeah, absolutely, that happens.
Yeah, but since it doesn't say voluntold, I'm going to go with C, a worker who has the training, knowledge, and experience.
All right, let's see. C, a worker that has training, knowledge, and experience. In the preliminary matters, 2L, that means possessing knowledge, experience, and training to perform a specific duty. It's very common that the worker that has been doing similar work for 10 years would be the general response because, I mean, what's the difference, right? Colin, we were talking earlier before the meeting began about hanging drywall. If you had someone and someone from, I've done it before, you know, I've sheeted lots of walls. But doing drywall is different. There's different things with the National Building Code. And I tell you, mudding and taping is an art. Anybody that says it's not hasn't tried it. So, you know, just saying that they've done similar work isn't the same of having the knowledge, training, experience to actually do the work in hand. So that's very important.
I still would have gone with Tony, but that's okay.
Each their own, right? All right.
Tony Danza wings. I'm just trying to figure that out.
Okay. Oh boy. Okay. So what's our score here now, Justin?
We are at 1,500 for Warren and 1,300 for Colin.
Oh man, the math is man. I'm gonna have to go big here. There's never TMI for PME. And I'm taking a big risk.
And for how much, Colin?
For 400.
For 400. All right, let's see what we come up with. According to Section 158 of the regulations, an employer or contractor shall ensure that the operator of a unit of power mobile equipment uses what?
Oh,
Is it
okay.
A, common sense, B, Skyhooks, C, PPE, or D, seatbelts?
Well, I am, I think my phone just froze here.
Well, that's not good.
No, that's not good. Let's try this another way here. See if it will let me go back into here. Because I want to make sure. We'll go down to 158.
We're very close.
And I got to make sure that they're using their seat belts.
Absolutely correct. D, seatbelts. In 157 4A, seatbelts for the operator and any other worker who is permitted to be in or on the equipment while the equipment is in motion. Fantastic. So that brings you up to 1,700 big ones. Warren.
Well, do I play? So we only have the TMI for 300 and task force safety for 100. Those are the only options left?
Those are the only ones.
All right. Well, I'm going to play it safe. I'll go for task force safety for 100.
All right. Let's see here. Regular Occupational Health Committee meetings are required at intervals not exceeding, is it A, 1 month, B, 2 months, C, 3 months, or D, 4 months?
Trying to think back to my Scott training when I went through it, and off the top of my head, I think it is not exceeding, I'm going to say C, 3 months.
Well, I wish I had some suspenseful music.
Oh,
C, 3 months.
No suspense. Okay.
Last time I did suspenseful music, it came over too loud and everybody was shocked every time it happened. So, all right. That brings you up to 1,600 and Colin was 1,700.
Oh.
Oh, man. Well, there's one left on the board. We might as well clean that off, Justin. We'll see what
happens.
See what happens. Yeah, well.
All right. It's a long one. The regulations specify that if an operator has not operated type of PME for a period of blank years, or where the PME design has changed significantly, the employer contractor shall evaluate and re-examine to ensure their competency. Fill in the blank. I'll leave that there for a moment so you can reread it if you wish.
Yeah.
And then I'll bring up the answers here. So how many years? Is it 6 months, 3 years, 5 years, or 10 years?
Yeah, I trying to remember if it was with PME, if it was 5 years on PME. I'll just take a wild guess on that one. I'm gonna go with C.
Let's see. All right. Let's see. Oh, 3 years.
Okay.
This is outlined in table 14.1 of the regulations. So now I've been keeping a rough count of Warren with 1,600 and Colin with 1,700. But my math is generally, I'm a safety guy. I'm not a mathematician. So simple adding is out of the realm of what I'm able to do. So I'm going to leave it up to the computer here to calculate your scores and come up with exactly who's the winner here. So I'll just give this a quick calculation. Just takes a moment, guys, and then we'll determine who the actual winner was today.
That's hilarious.
So it's loading up. Oh, man.
Oh.
I thought I was getting a PowerPoint until right now. I apologize, gentlemen. It looks like there's no winner. So
okay.
I think you're splitting the bill on those chicken wings.
Yeah, that's all right. We can do that.
Perfect. That's fantastic. This was a lot of fun. And you know what? This is one of those things that this is what safety can be. It's all about when you're trying to express safety to people. This is something that we take very seriously at the SCSA, but we also like to look at new ways where people can enjoy themselves while learning. And we have a lot of demonstrations that are available. The advisors, and keep tabs. If you follow us on our social media platforms, people will be able to really see when we'll be back out doing demonstrations again. We have fall protection demos, eye protection demos, ladder demos, hand protection demos, all these different types of demos, and we go to trade shows and everything to really bring the fun into safety. And I think that's one thing that a lot of people are able to do if they just think a little bit outside the box, like we did today here, and really bring the fun back into safety. So I hope you guys had fun.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks, Justin.
Awesome.
Thanks, Warren. No, it was.
Thank you very much. It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely, this was great. So this concludes our special edition of the Ask The SCSA Thursday webinar. I'd like to take a moment to thank our contestants for participating in today's game show. I would also like to thank everyone watching. By watching and participating in this and all the past discussions, we're working together in making Saskatchewan the safest construction environment in Canada. So make sure you come back next Tuesday, as we'll have presentations on sorting and uploading documents to the FTP site for the remote audit. So this is a very important part of how we're conducting audits now. This is a great one to tune into. And then next Thursday, the day after Canada Day, we'll have a summer safety presentation. Another thing I'd like to remind everyone is that we have all of our webinar presentations available on our YouTube channel. So there are topics like prime contractor, emergency preparedness, return to core auditing, the dangers of breathing silica dust, training, on-site and off-site blind spots, residential fall protection, PPE, particulates and fibers and respiratory systems, and the COVID-19 standardized protocols for Saskatchewan that came out. So these have all been from our past webinars that have been cut together and put on our YouTube. So these are a great resource for training and toolbox talks, especially if, like us, you're doing all your meetings in a remote fashion. This is a great way to just share up on the screen and put one of these presentations on if you missed them in the past. So again, thank you to everyone watching. Thank you, Colin and Warren. And have a great day, everyone, and work safe.